understand you're early in the process, beginning the NEPA process to develop an environmental impact statement or an environmental assessment, one of the two, depending on the impacts. And you're in the scoping stage. Tell our listeners a little bit about what that means in your planning process. What does NEPA scoping mean to the general public out there?
Well, what that means is we're still at the very beginning.
Yeah.
We are out there looking for any past studies, any bright ideas. Right now, the door is open. We're looking and actively soliciting ideas for how can we address this issue? How can we make this better for Houston and the surrounding communities? We've worked with Harris County Flood Control District extensively. They have a long history of local knowledge. We've also worked with other citizens groups and nonprofits organizations, the Cypress Creek Flood Control Coalition, the Willow Fork Drainage District, a wide variety of organizations, just, what has been looked at in the past with the idea of somehow focusing in on the ideas with the most promise. And so in the next 2 weeks, we're going to begin our formal public scoping meetings, and that's where you'll have team members and experts from the Corps at a high school gym or a church activity center, to tell the public more detailed updates and solicit their comments. Have we distilled this to the right array to look at further?
Right.
And is there local knowledge that can help us implement any of these ideas?
So that scoping step for the folks out there is really an important beginning point of environmental impact statement and the definition of alternative approaches to solve a problem. So let me just back up a little bit. The purpose of the investigation, I've read, is to improve the Addicks and Barker reservoirs to reduce upstream and downstream flood risk. Basically, we're trying to make this system work a little bit better. Is that fair?
So we're looking at the entire Buffalo Bayou system. The Addicks and Barker are a very key component of that, and there are certain, risk drivers that are more prevalent either upstream or downstream. But we are looking at the entire bayou, not just
the reservoirs. Okay. Yes. And the scoping process, I've always tried to describe it as where you sit down and you try to figure out what's the table of contents of the study going to be. What are we going to actually discuss in the study? What risks do we intend to identify and evaluate? What approaches seem to make sense in response to that? Is that a fair way to understand it, kind of the table of you're not doing the investigation yet. This is to determine the scope of the NEPA document.
Right. With the finite time that we have to do this study, it's a 3-year study, and the finite dollars, it's a $6 million study. We have to make sure that our time and money is spent on developing ideas that are most likely to have a difference.
I got you. Excuse me.
And to that end, when the public comes out in the next couple weeks, it's not going to be an empty slate. We've already done some initial steps. We've put together large lists of possible ideas, and we've started to do some preliminary grouping, at least on a large concept level scale.
Got it.